I'm Greg Morse of the International Socialist Organization in Rhode Island. On May 26, 2009, the Supreme Court of California handed down its ruling to uphold Proposition 8. This effectively denies the civil rights of marriage to same-sex couples. The court's decision does, however, preserve the 18,000 same-sex marriages performed last year. At the Providence County Courthouse, around 100 people have gathered to protest the court's decision and demand same-sex marriage rights here in Rhode Island. Rhode Island is currently the only New England state that does not recognize same-sex marriage. We spoke to some other participants and also heard from several speakers.
My name is Molly Little, and I'm from Rhode Island. And I'm here because I'm angry.
What do you think needs to be done in California and across the country to overturn that ruling that was made today?
Well, I think maybe what we saw today is a good first step. There seem to be people from a variety of organizational affiliations coming together around this and mobilizing. And I think people need to get louder and get organized in public, visible ways.
I'm RJ Raskin, and I'm from Woonsocket, Rhode Island.
Today, the California Supreme Court had a ruling that unfortunately upheld Proposition 8. However, they surprisingly all allowed all gay marriages preceding this particular vote to still be recognized. What is your reaction to this?
I honestly think it's actually kind of a good thing. I think, the fact that there is that kind of ambiguity actually says that will make people think. I think if we would have shut one way down or the other, now people have to question, be like, oh, so you're married, why aren't other people married? You know what I mean? So I think it's actually going to become a good thing. I think it's unfortunately it's actually it's a step backwards, but hopefully it'll be 2 steps forwards. You know what I mean? In the long run.
The ISO did a great job tonight.
I'm Brian. I'm a member of the International Socialist Organization here in Providence, and I want to say that I think today was obviously a very bad setback, but it's also the beginning of what I see as an expanded, fired-up movement for marriage equality, for civil rights for all people. Like the passage of Proposition 8 was actually a defeat, but it actually spurred people to action. And I want to talk about that a little bit. I think, first of all, today's decision is going to raise questions because, first of all, how can you tell us that it was fine to have civil rights last year, but it's not this year, right? How can you move backward? People are asking that question, especially when after Prop 8 passed, you have Vermont, Iowa, Maine, New Hampshire, kind of Connecticut, all saying marriage equality, right? Secondly, the decision was a little bit mixed. Very interesting, because the 18,000 marriages that happened last year are still valid, which is good, and that's going to raise questions. Why are those marriages valid, but more of them can't happen, right? These are some of the questions that I think are going to start to be raised. I think what we need now is an activist movement that actually gets out in the streets and puts pressure on a number of politicians to start moving. In our state, I think it starts with that. I've decided that carcieri, by the way, is the worst possible swear in Italian. It's, right? You really want to swear somebody out, call them that. Right? It starts there. I think it starts with some of the Democrats in the General Assembly who are holding it up, right? We need to come out in large numbers and put pressure on them. Because I think the lessons of history are that it's activist movements, people in large numbers on the streets that make things move. Think about what happened with Proposition 8 to begin with. When that was passed, and I think honestly it was a shame that it was passed, and I think a lot of things could have been done to stop it. When it was passed, people got out in the street in mass numbers. They weren't deflated. And frankly, I think those mass numbers are why the 18,000 marriages are still valid. Why did it start in the first place? Because as Mayor Cicilline had noted, Gavin Newsom started in 2004 giving out marriage licenses, right? That provides a basis and it gives people a place to start. I think we should see if we could do that here. If Mayor Cicilline could actually start giving marriage licenses in a state without a DOMA, maybe that would put pressure on the General Assembly to start moving, right? Let's do it. I'm for it. Let's do it. Coming out of tonight, I think we should see this as a starting point. And I think we're all feeling this, that, oh my God, Rhode Island, how can it be the last state in New England not to have it? What are we thinking? This is ridiculous. Let's actually start working to make this a reality as soon as possible. Let's build an activist movement that can actually put pressure to bring it. We know that in our state, between 55 and 65% of people in this state already support marriage equality. That's great. That means we should be marching forward. When interracial marriage was made legal by the Supreme Court in the 60s, the majority actually opposed it, right? We have a much better basis to move forward for marriage equality right now. So to that end, the ISO, Marriage Equality Rhode Island, and any other group that would like to join us, we're going to have an organizing meeting next Tuesday, June 2nd at 7 p.m. at Beneficent Church over on Weybosset Street. If you'd like to be part of that organizing, talk to me, talk to Kathy, and we're gonna pull together some kind of coalition to get more people out in the streets, because I think we have a real basis to do it now. I think people are fired up, and I think we're ready to win marriage equality for everybody. Thank you.
I think we just need to organize all of the ordinary people who are already on our side and who haven't been reached out to yet, because I think that really is the majority in Rhode Island. And I think once we get the majority out in the street, that's enough to cut across those kinds of just hate-mongering arguments.